Hi, welcome to Dump Anxiety channel. So, intrusive thoughts. That seems to be a very popular topic, very popular question. And I don't blame you because looking back at my own recovery journey, and hindsight is 2020, right? I thought that physical symptoms was the worst thing, but actually no. It was more so the thoughts about the physical symptoms, the stories about the physical symptoms, and not just that, stories about everything, right? So why the intrusive thoughts that people suffer from when their nervous system is dysregulated? Why do they feel so real? And the answer is actually quite simple. It is because as your nervous system is dysregulated and therefore overly reactive, those thoughts, when they come with a strong emotional punch. There is emotion tied to them. And because your nervous system is dysregulated and it overreacts, it reacts strongly and very, very fast, which is what you want if you were in actual danger. The emotion comes on very, very quickly. So while normally, for me, when my nervous system is regulated, if I think certain way, if I focus on certain stories in my mind, while the emotion comes, it kind of comes slowly, right? It kind of creeps in, lingers very low a little bit, then maybe it starts growing. But no, when my nervous system was dysregulated, when I was suffering from anxiety, they came like a punch immediately. Sometimes I didn't even know if I managed to think a thought before the emotion came, or if I just started feeling very, very scared and then the thoughts started hurling, and that's how fast the emotion came. So what makes those intrusive thoughts feel so scary, so real, so believable? It is the emotion. It's absolutely that. Because let's think about it. Whatever thought you may have now, and if you struggle with anxiety, there might be many topics and thoughts that really, really scare you, that really, really get you going and get you very anxious. Whatever that thought is, if your brain would come up with that thought and there would be no emotion attached to it, so you wouldn't feel any type of way about it, you would have no problem to just brush it off, right? It would be so easy. It would be just a string of words in your head, meaning nothing. But because your brain already tied it to emotion, and because it's so reactive, so the emotion comes so strongly and so quickly, that makes it feel like it has value, right? It's the emotion that gives it weight. And the paradox is, as with everything related to anxiety and anxiety recovery, the more you fight the thought, the more you want to get rid of it, just so you don't have to feel that scary emotion that makes it so real. The more you fight it, the more you argue with it, the more you try explain to your mind why this is not true and it shouldn't even think that because you would never do it or it could never happen. The more you engage, the more power you give the thought, the more you're strengthening the bond between the thought and emotion, and the more important the thought is to your brain. Your brain basically thinks, oh, whenever I bring this up, they like to think of that. They engage, they love it. So I'm going to bring it up more. Why not, right? Your brain wants to keep you entertained. It seems like you like to think about this thing. It doesn't really matter how it makes you feel, but whenever I bring it up, you engage, you go into it. So that seems you like it, right? In a weird way. You want that thought. That's why you're engaging with it. If it wasn't important for you, you would just let it pass, right? Because your brain gives you thousands of thoughts every single day. And most of them, they just pass by unnoticed. You're not engaging with them. They're not important to you, But when you engage with something, then your brain is like, oh, this is important. This is something that we need to keep bringing up because this is what gets active engagement. And that's exactly what is happening. So those thoughts feel real because the emotion makes them feel real. But the emotion is fake, quote unquote. You feel it. It's in your body. It's in your body. The chemicals were released and now you feel the emotion. It is in your body. But it is fake. We need to realize that your brain doesn't actually differentiate between real or perceived. It doesn't differentiate between past, present, or future. It basically goes by, for lack of a better explanation, how would it feel if it was happening right now? Okay? So let's say that you worry about something in the future. What if I'm gonna get sick? My big thing was, what if I'll get cancer? Okay? And I would be thinking, oh, what if I'll get cancer? And I would immediately start feeling scared. I was immediately starting feeling sad, like I'm already dying. But I wasn't, in that moment when I was thinking about it, I wasn't diagnosed with cancer, right? I wasn't dying at that point, but I felt like I was. How is that possible? Well, because my brain doesn't care if it's actually happening. If I'm thinking about it, if I'm focusing on it, if I'm engaging with it, it basically shows me how would I feel if it was happening right now, right? And the more reactive your nervous system is, the more dysregulated it is, the faster the emotions come and the stronger it is. And you can test this with the past, right? Also, if you ever lost like a loved one or a pet or something, when you think back to that day or the emotions you felt, if you focus on it, if you engage with it for, some time, depending how old that event is, how old the memory is, and like how strong, like how much it is still alive in you. So if you focus on it or for enough time, for long enough, you will eventually start feeling as you felt, almost the same level of emotion as you felt if it was happening. But hey, it's no longer happening. So why do I feel like it is? Well, because your brain doesn't differentiate past, present, future, perceived, real. It doesn't matter, right? You need to realize also that most of those thoughts you're getting, they're never really about present. They are always something about your past or something about your future. With anxiety tends to be the future, right? Fear and anxiety, they live in the future. Depression, sadness, that lives in the past. And when you think about it, when you slow down and actually become aware, you will realize, I feel like crap. I'm so scared or so worried or whatever is the emotion that's happening. But that thing actually isn't happening right now. And I'm only fighting it because I don't like the feeling. But now that I know that my brain creates feelings and emotions based on what I'm engaged with, whether it is actually happening or not, then it makes sense that if I disengage with it and I leave it alone, that emotion is going to naturally dissipate and it's eventually going to go away. But the more I'm fighting it, the more I keep the engagement there. Therefore, I also keep the emotion there. And the more I'm fighting, the more the emotion is there, the longer time I spend with the thought paired with the emotion, the more valid it feels. Keyword is it feels. It's still not true. It's still not happening right now. It's still not like a magical prediction, but it feels like it. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make it true. Okay? And in order to make those thoughts unimportant again, you really first need to change how you're reacting to them and also to the emotion that comes with them. It's simple as that. And then practice it and then become consistent with it. And then eventually the emotional punch is going to fade. The emotion won't be so strong. Even if the thought is going to appear, it's not going to get you so riled up. And eventually, because you stop engaging, your brain will stop bringing it up because it will understand, oh, this is no longer important. This no longer gets engagement. Therefore, I guess this topic, they are not interested in it anymore. So I don't have to bring it up. So yeah, something about thoughts.